right, we have Morgan Hancock, the famous Morgan Hancock, here with us today. It's just gonna be really informal. I'm just gonna ask you some questions, and wherever it goes, that's where it goes. So,
Okay.
since I'm old, remind me when you graduated.
2013.
Yikes, that's so long
Yeah.
ago. Oh my gosh. All right, so really, what we're trying to do is just kind of, first of all, just connect with some of the people that have gone through the program, and really talk about what you learned from athletics, some of the struggles maybe you went through during high school or college. Not everybody that we're talking to went on to either play or manage in college, but obviously I know a little bit about your background. So I don't want to spoil anything, but first of all, just talk us through your high school career. I know one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is I know that you had some challenges in high school, both on the court and off the court.
Yes.
That you had to work through. I mean, there were some family things, your sister,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different things that people probably don't know about you. And just kind of talk about those. And then once I'll prompt you again, but really the whole point of that is if in fact it did, how did athletics or people that you were around during athletics, how did they help you, and what did you learn from them through that process in high school?
Okay, so I guess I'll start kind of with on the court and then kind of lead to off the court. So I mean, obviously basketball has always been there. Freshman year is when the first kind of major injury happened. I think it was 1 or 2 games in the district, if even. That I remember was against Prosper. I will never forget that. Playing them, came down on my knee and ankle. Ankle is kind of what gave out first. Kind of rehab that, try to come back. Told Coach Smiley that something was wrong. I knew it wasn't. It was more than just kind of being sore. And so went back to my doctor, and he grabbed my knee, and I came off the table. Meniscus was pretty much shattered, part of my MCL, and then cartilage and tissue was damaged. So I had surgery that April, and then
Is that when you were a freshman?
Yes, freshman year surgery. And then was on crutches for a while. There were stitches on the inside of my knee, so I had to be really careful when it came to walking. And then that summer, I went to church camp. Some kids were kind of running around playing. I got hit from behind. And then that's where the second.
I remember that vividly.
Yeah, that's where the second knee surgery came from. So I think that was almost harder to deal with than the first one, because I didn't know what to expect with the first one. And then after going through that, it wasn't even the surgery I was upset about. It was the missing the basketball. That was super hard. So going into sophomore year, new head coach for this season as well. Finding out I won't.
Who was the coach then? Was it Connor?
It was Coach Poole freshman year.
It was Poole first, and then it was Connor.
And then it was Coach Connor.
Right.
And so we had Coach Connor's sophomore year, and that's when I realized I wouldn't be able to pick a basketball that year. That was a very unique year for our program. Some changes going on and off the court, and that was the first year that the basketball team had appearance in the state tournament, so getting second place. So that was a really unique experience. I kind of saw it in a different angle because of not being on the court, but being a part of the team.
Yeah.
Definitely excited and definitely proud to say I was a part of that. Just to experience that and be kind of the first from Lovejoy to do that was really, really neat. So came back from that knee surgery, rehabbed it, took care of myself, worked out a ton that summer, got ready for fall ball. Everything was going well. This is now going into junior year when we had Coach Gower, so a new head coach. So along with the injuries, it's building a new program every single year. It's from the ground up.
You were in that perfect pocket where you had like 4 different coaches, right?
Yeah, I had a new coach every season. So that itself was a huge change. You finally get to the point where you feel like a program can be built, and then kind of as soon as we got our hopes up, sadly there was a new coach coming in, and so that was definitely defeating in a lot of ways. I think it affected our program in ways because I think it was hard to get some girls to commit to the program when we feel like we couldn't even have a head coach
Right.
commit to us. So that was definitely kind of hard, I think, in ways. And I think it made a big impact on our program in ways.
Mhm.
So junior year, Coach Gower comes over from the men's program. Fall ball, was able to play. I did not injure myself. Knee was doing good that entire year. I kind of had a minor ankle injury right before our playoff game. I remember arguing with Coach Smiley that no matter what, I was saving my ankle and playing. And that's what happened. The doctor did give approval though, but we lost that first round of playoffs my junior year. So that was hard, kind of going then from the state tournament to then losing first year. And then my senior year, which for me was the hardest, one of the hardest years of my life off the court. My older sister, Megan, who graduated from Lovejoy in 2011, she had a big heart failure. And so it was one of those things that we thought we were going to lose her. So not only is it senior year, which is just kind of a lot as is being a senior, you know, a lot of things are about to change, then going through almost losing my older sister, and thankfully we did not, and she's healthy, you know, still till this day. But going through that off the court, once again with the new head coach, was a lot to take in. Parents going back and forth from Abilene, having the twins as juniors. Bo was in, gosh,
Yeah,
7th
I forgot to mention that you
grade.
have 4 siblings that also
Yes.
graduated from Lovejoy.
Yeah, so there's 5 of us that came from Lovejoy. Bo was in 8th grade that year. And so almost kind of playing the role of big sister, mom, dad, everything, as well as trying to be a senior was very difficult. And I can say that is a time that the Lovejoy community itself, as well as so many others in our lives, stepped up in a huge way. Just some of those friendships from teachers, coaches, even friends from high school, those are memories, those are friendships that I will cherish forever, just because it went
Yeah,
beyond
so
basketball.
what are some of the things that you think that you learned through that process of kind of being disappointed and coming back and being disappointed and change and, you know, these life events that sometimes people they let those things defeat them, but we'll get to your college career a little bit later, which is
Yes.
a little bit different. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk to you, because you do have a unique story.
Mm-hmm.
You did have a lot of things that you had to overcome, but I hope you learned some things. And
Yeah.
again, we're just kind of talking about the high school right now, but what are some of the things that either you learned from the coaches or from your teammates, you know, something specific that maybe you remember that you learned that helped you kind of get through that difficult time?
Um, I think seeing just the reaction through the knee injuries, even things with my sister, just seeing the reactions to people and how much they had bought into me. I don't think I realized that because senior year at one point I was going to step away. You had one of the biggest impacts on
I
me not
chased you down
making.
in the hallway.
Yes, you had one of the, and I mean, obviously very thankful that I did not make that decision. But I think getting to that point and feeling like everything was kind of overwhelming because at the same time my sister got released finally from the hospital. She came home that Thursday. That Saturday in the fall ball senior year, I hurt my knee again. And so then, you know, learning there's my third knee surgery. And I think at that point I felt so defeated in every aspect of life. It was kind of like, what else could go wrong? And I think between you, between even Coach Douglas for softball, and between some of my teammates with basketball and with softball, just kind of encouraging me, my parents for sure, that not that they didn't raise a quitter, but they now seeing it, they saw how it was going to be in the future. I think they knew the regret I would have had if I quit. And they knew that's something I probably would not forgive myself for if I did do that in high school. And it did make a huge impact, you know, now in college. So I think just seeing everybody, I guess, buy into me that I didn't realize kind of in that moment. But after definitely going through some hard things senior year, seeing that, I think made a huge impact on me.
It sounds like staying connected to that group, even though things weren't
Oh,
going as you
absolutely.
wanted to, was a big factor in kind of helping you get through some things,
Yeah.
which I'm hoping some people can, you know, because things don't always go your way. I mean, you don't always
Mm-hmm.
get the playing time that you want. You don't always think that you're going to have the role that you want to have. I mean,
Yeah.
myself included. I mean,
Yes, for
things haven't
sure.
always gone real great for me here at
Yeah.
Lovejoy, but things come full circle, and if you're
Hmm.
persistent at certain things, you're gonna see benefits from that. And I think I have a similar story to you. I think a little bit
Hmm.
in that staying connected to that community that
Yeah.
supports you is a huge thing. So let's go to some things that are probably a little bit more positive. Like when you went to college, first of all, where did you go to school?
I went to Lubbock Christian University in Lubbock.
Hmm.
People ask where you went, then ask what town. So it's in Lubbock.
Duh.
Yeah.
Um, so when you went to Lubbock, did you have any intentions of playing or trying to play?
That was my intention. I knew that was always what I wanted. I mean, for me, it was kind of like I want to go anywhere. I just want to keep playing. And I think because I had it taken in high school in so many different times, I just wasn't ready to give up on that playing. So my intentions were to go and play basketball. Went to a couple of JUCOs, went up to Lubbock, and the 2-3 days after Lubbock, I went back for my last kind of follow up for my knee appointment, and that's when my doctor finally said, "You have to stop." I mean, at this point, you've had your third knee surgery. I was not even 19 yet, and he was like, "I've let you fight it. I've let you push through in high school, but if you don't want to have a knee replacement, in a year, you have to, you got to stop." And so that, I think was kind of another thing senior year that I was, another thing I felt was so negative. And I called my coach in college, Coach Gomez, and I kind of explained to him what he said. And he was like, "If you still want to come be a part of the program," he was like, "we would love to have you." And it didn't take very much thinking at all. I knew just
Let's
getting to
pause
be,
here for a second because I mean Lubbock Christian, they're no slouches, right? I mean
no,
Coach Gomez is a pretty much a legend. Now
yeah.
was that's D2 or
Yes.
D?
So my freshman year was the first year of us going D2. They came from NAIA,
Gotcha.
and then they were going through D2. So my freshman, sophomore year, we were in
My point is you're walking
probation.
into a program that's a pretty established,
Yeah, absolutely.
successful coach. I mean
Yes.
he's a legend. He's got tons of wins, national
Yeah,
champion.
he made himself known in the NAIA world for sure. And then going D2, I think brought a lot more excitement. My coach actually played at LCU. And so he stayed in Lubbock, coached high school, and then has now been with LCU. Oh gosh, I think this is his 16th, or I guess this coming season will be his 16th or 17th. So he has definitely built that program up.
So I happen to know, I happen to know how your career went at Lubbock
Hmm.
Christian. Tell everybody kind of the success that you saw, and even, really, even if you had some struggles that maybe obviously I don't know everything. So if there were some
Hmm.
other struggles that you had to get through to get to that success, but ultimately, we're starting from when you were a freshman, and just setback after setback after setback.
Yeah.
But it doesn't end there, right? There's some
No, it did
success.
not.
There's some success in there too, and I think that's part of your story, and I think that's part of that perseverance that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So freshman, sophomore year, like I said, we were on kind of probation period. My freshman year swept conference, which was a good feeling because we had some wins at Lovejoy, but we weren't, the dominant program. So I think stepping into that, I didn't realize, I knew LCU was good, but I didn't realize how good of a coach I was getting to kind of work with and how good of a program I was getting to be a part of. And so swept freshman year, then going into my sophomore year of college, moved in not even 2 weeks later, get a phone call from our parents. That was a huge turning point kind of in my college life. Those years was my parents divorcing. That was very hard. Being in Lubbock alone away from family was something I went back to Lubbock thinking I'll be fine. Like Megan and the twins are 2.5 hours from me in Abilene. I'll be okay. Didn't have a car at this time, so it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be going to visit sisters. And that rocked my world a whole lot that year. At Christmas, I told my parents, I said, I just need to come home. I said, I don't know. I feel like I've just hit a wall. I said, I feel alone here. I in a lot of ways didn't know what I wanted to do. My major started as education. I didn't know where to go from there. Just kind of a lot of just unknowns. And so I came home for a semester, just kind of worked, just spent time at home with the family, just kind of dealing with everything that came with my parents, going their separate ways. And so I decided I would be going back to LCU in the fall. And so I came back for, I guess would be my third year, kind of second part of sophomore year is how it started. And then that year we went undefeated and won nationals. It was obviously one of the best memories I have with basketball. It was a really unique season as well because our exhibition game was against UConn, and that's when they were in their prime of not losing. And so starting our season going up to Connecticut and playing UConn was really cool. Completely unreal. Yeah, getting to meet Gino and just being a part of that and play them. I mean, we got killed, but we didn't care. Just getting to experience that was so amazing within itself. And that year, they decided to have D3 through D1 national championship together. So that was held in Indy that year, and it was really neat because it kind of came full circle just in that one season of starting against UConn. And then at our national championship game, we had UConn fans in the stands because we played them earlier that year. That's cool. And then getting to watch UConn play in the Final Four and then win that year the national championship was something that was just really, really cool and unique. So that was a great year. And then I guess my first senior year took me 5 years to get through college, but first senior year,
me too.
First senior year was kind of a wake-up call for a program. We weren't as good. I think a lot of girls kind of came back with the same expectations and just thought, I think it was going to be an easy ride. We went 35-0 the year before. And I think a lot of people just came in thinking that same thing was going to happen. And it was a very big wake-up call when a few games into the season, we start losing a couple. We were on a Thanksgiving trip in Puerto Rico, and I think only came home with one win. I don't think the girls knew how to react. I don't think our coaches kind of knew how to react to our girls. And so that was kind of a big turning point for our program. We ended up going to conference tournament, losing, and then championship game, and season was done. And so that kind of lit a fire under the seniors for that next season. So my fifth year, my senior year, we went to the Elite Eight, and that season got cut short. But I mean, just to get to continue basketball, to continue learning from Coach Gomez, and from all the traveling I got to get to do. I went to Puerto Rico, I went to Hawaii, Boston. I got to go to a lot of neat places. So just to experience basketball on a different level, to learn so much from a different coach, a different program, and to see it at, I don't know, like I said, a different level of basketball was just really neat. But winning nationals undefeated, my family kind of jokes that's why I lost in basketball in high school at the state, and then in softball senior years because I was going to get that national championship.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
I got two of those silver medals too.
Yes, I think you and I are the only two that have those two together. So
yeah.
But,
that's rough.
So
really what I'm hearing though is the perseverance of, you could have quit a bunch of times, whether it's in high school or whether it was in college, but 2 national championships. Not as a player, but it's still a national championship. It's like community college. Nobody says, hey, but you were a manager. You still got to go to all those places. You still got to experience all those things. You still had those teammates. I read something before I came on here. I was just Google searching, and it was a player that said you were the heart of the team in these seasons. So, you never know where your role is going to be. I think is the theme for me, and I know it is for you. And one of the things that I'm going to tell the girls next year, and I've always been a firm believer that anything is possible.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Boxell, who just left, used to kind of make fun of me a little bit because he was like, hey, do you think we have a chance? And I'm like, and he would just look at me and shake his head because he knew what I was going to say. I was like, any given day, anything is possible. Now, statistically, if you look at it, we're underdogs, but I really believe that anything's possible, but you have to have that determination. You have to
Hmm.
stick with something and see it through even when things are
Yeah.
difficult. And I think a lot of times in high school, athletes give up too easy.
Hmm.
When things get tough, it's easy to quit. It's easy to go hide. It's easy to go do whatever. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that you didn't want to do that at several points, probably,
Yeah.
right?
There's
You
a
had
few
that.
times
You
I
had
felt
those
it's easy to
teammates.
do that.
You had those teammates and coaches that were there to
Yeah.
support you, whether you wanted to be supported or not,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that probably, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that probably played a huge factor in kind of where you are now.
Oh, it absolutely did. I think it challenged me because I think the easy thing would have been to give up. I could have acted like I wasn't going to regret it. I could have acted like I was totally fine, and I would not have been at all. If I would have given up, I would have been very hard on myself. But I think to have those coaches, those friends, those teammates encourage me and have me keep going, I think it made a big impact on things that have affected me outside of basketball. I think sports have a huge impact on anyone in so many different ways. And I think that's one thing that impacted me in a major way is learning not to give up when things get hard in sports. And then that turned into my life through, sorry, my dogs, through so many
Okay.
different things.
And you kind of answered my next question, which was kind of, with all of that being said, how did that prepare you for what you're doing now? So
Mm.
I guess I can transition into, well, what did you get your degree in?
So I got my degree in family studies, so very similar to psychology. I did use it for a little bit outside. When I graduated, I worked with people with mental, physical disabilities. I absolutely loved it. I missed the sports. I missed the gym. Now I am an operations manager at an LA Fitness. Um, that's not the long-term goal. I started as an education major, got out of that. Um, Still kind of hope one day would do kind of special education, would love to kind of coach. So that is something that I do kind of think about making that decision to get, my certifications, things like that.
Hurry up.
Back.
I need an assistant.
Man, if I could get that done by
Man, if
August.
you had already had your degree, man, we'd get you hooked up.
I know, that would be pretty cool.
We would love your experience. It's obviously awesome, and I think the girls would learn a lot from you. And hopefully, they're going to learn a lot based on what you said, because you made a lot of the points that I'm going to be making to them, that I have made to them, about you being having this perseverance and this grit. Some people
Yeah,
call it grit, but it's developed through hardship.
it is. Absolutely
It's
is.
developed through difficult times, and if you just keep pressing on and you lean on those people that are around you, you're going to get through it. It may not look like you want it to look, but
Yeah.
there's light on the other side, right?
Yeah.
There's
Hmm.
other things out there, and your path forks lots of different ways in your
Oh
life
yeah.
that you never plan. I mean, like you said, you never planned to be a manager at Lubbock
Yeah.
Christian, but look at all the awesome stuff that you got
Oh
out of it.
yeah.
And if you would have quit, that would have never even been a possibility.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't have. It was a new role, but it's something I wouldn't change. As much as I would love to have played more in high school, it happened like it was supposed to. I missed that time on the court, but I think I learned a lot about myself as a person, having to learn a different role, having to take the backseat at times when I wasn't used to that. But I think it did help me develop into the person I am now.
That's awesome. Morgan Hancock, national champion. That has a good ring, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Hopefully the girls will get a lot out of this. I think there's a lot of good stuff there that they can learn from.
Yes.